I was reading books. So I am the probably one of the biggest advocates of reading books after another well-known internet marketer that I won't quote here. But I'm a big advocate for reading books. I started reading books. I read my first self-help book when I was 14 years old, again, in that same period.
Good age to start, yeah.
Good age to start reading books. I would advise anyone. But it doesn't matter, whatever age it is, just start reading books today. And at this point, when the business started doing well, I had probably read, I don't know exactly, but probably 75 books about self-help and business. So including some books about copywriting, some books about, selling and whatever. So I had a good foundation.
Mm-hmm. What type, can you name what are the two favorite books that you read back then?
So the first book that really impacted me was a book called The Education of Millionaires by Michael Ellsberg, which is a brilliant book. I've read it probably more than any other book, and I've read a lot of books many times. So that's that's saying something. It's a brilliant book, and it basically talks about how do you teach yourself to become a millionaire, and I think it's brilliant. Probably the other book, I would have to say. Probably The Millionaire, Fastlane. It's a very good book by MJ DeMarco. I don't know if I had read it at the time, but definitely in my all-time list, these two would be pretty high.
And which copywriting books?
So copywriting books, there's a lot of old school sort of copywriting books. I personally recommend a book called The Advertising Solution by Brian Kurtz, which basically what this book does, and it wasn't, I think it was published in 2017, I believe, but what this book does is it summarizes all of the books about copywriting, the old school classic books, and it also references them. So what I would tell anyone interested in this is buy and read The Advertising Solution. And if you want to go deeper into it, you want to get better at it, then read all the books that are talked about in The Advertising Solution.
Okay, so at this point, you basically had your little publishing business behind you because it stopped making money for whatever.
Close to zero.
It was close to zero at that point, yeah. So then you decided, I'm going to go into a new business model. So I need to find a new way to make money online. Otherwise, I'm just another 17, almost 18-year-old who's going to have to get a job someday, very soon, or go study somewhere or whatever. But I guess you ended up quitting high school about a year later. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
So what ended up happening at the time, first of all, you were saying, I never really stressed out about, I'm going to have to get a job and all. Like, I always had this sort of really weird. Now looking back, it was really weird, but this sort of just indestructible belief that things were going to go exactly the way I planned them to. Like, for example, I remember at this age, a lot of people start worrying about like getting a driving license and things like that. That's like a weird example, I know, and I never worried about getting my driving license. And people always ask me, but Emmanuel, like, you need to get your driving license. And I always told them, well, I'm not going to need to because I'm going to have a private driver, like I'm going to have a driver, and people would always look at me like I was crazy.
Wow, that's cocky.
How dare you?
How dare you be special?
Yeah. And I remember talking with also other people who were like, I need to get like my summer internship or my summer job. And I've never worried about those things. Or another example was I had some my parents and some adult friends of my parents, who were joking around because I'm not a very sort of manual, practical kind of person. I'm more like a, thinker or whatever. And they were making fun that I would probably have to get a job like making fries or, like working in some supermarket. And I always tell them, no, it's not going to happen. So I always had this, and I think that's important to mention, I always had this sort of indestructible belief that things were going to go a certain way in every aspect. I saw it very clearly. I would have bet, quite frankly, my life on it that it would work out that way. So that's the first thing. Now, getting back to the story, I am 16 years old, turned 17. I would say around the time when I turned 17 is that when I started thinking like, okay, like things are not going the way they're supposed to go. Like before I was on track, I was doing my little thing. Now it's going down. I'm getting closer and closer to that thing where I'm not making any more income. And it was a big crisis, to be honest, because my identity up to this point was
Entrepreneur.
yeah, the entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I was known for that, and people respected me for that. I didn't have much of a social life because I didn't care very much about it, to be honest. But then at this point, it's like, well, I'm still making all the sacrifices, which is I'm still reading all these books. I'm not partying. I don't really have that many friends as a choice. And I had all these things going on, but all of a sudden, the part where like I'm making all this money, it doesn't exist anymore.